live from here or live from here? Which one?
Hey, it's live from here. Can you hear me?
Yep, you sound great.
Cool. Can I share my screen now?
Sure, go for it.
The host has disabled attendee screen sharing. Okay.
You should be able to share your screen now.
I think so. Okay, is that up for everybody? All right. Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and sticking with us all day long. I've just been thrilled to watch everything so far. It's been a really cool day and really honored to come behind so many really awesome zine makers. So welcome to Live from Here. It's a panel conversation. I'm going to moderate. My name is Ryan Patterson. And I am going to be joined by 4 amazing guests: Aaron Lehrman, Joe Macrone, Kevin Sherry, and Whit Taylor. So I'm just going to jump right into it. And thanks again for joining us. So serialized comics, right? A lot of us get to know comics through serialization. That means they come out every day in installments, and sometimes they're standalone stories, or sometimes they carry over one to the next. And you know, I have loved zines a long time. I loved seeing the panel earlier about like the history of DC punk zines. That was definitely an introduction for me to the zine community. But comics, you know, are where I think I started finding love in the combination of printed material and publication. But how has the internet affected the serialization of comics? So I, you know, will say for myself, one of the first times I kind of saw the combination of the internet as a tool to share and distribute comics was probably James Kolchaka's American Elf comics. And if maybe you didn't catch these when they were being published, they were done daily as daily strips from 1996 through the 2000s. And it was a really phenomenal feat to be able to tell like his daily stories, but also just these like quiet moments in his family's life. And they changed over time from being stories about just him as an artist to really like, as his family grew, you got to like get to know his entire family and these really intimate pieces of James Kolchaka's kind of like moments in his day as an artist. But of course, like Instagram has introduced a wave of that. James Kolchaka stopped making American Elf, but the internet has exploded. And so you can just now search something like daily comics or a comic strip on an Instagram and find dozens and hundreds and thousands of options. So myself, I wanted to just say, like, I started, you know, I'm a full-time arts administrator. I have a job, luckily for me, but I love making comics and love drawing. And so I keep I keep sketchbooks all the time, but it was really during COVID that I started keeping more of like a daily journal and posting every day. And I think there was something really cathartic because it wasn't just making and sharing my art, but it was also kind of like a way to keep a passage of time, but also to stay in touch with the outside world. And as I went on, these comics kind of changed format. For a while, they became these things you see on the left. I call them quarantine scenes, of like scenes of daily life. And the title of this presentation comes from this comic on the left where it's like, I'm tuning into the radio and these, you know, shows are pre-recorded. They're not even live anymore. People can't go to studios. And I realized like, I'm seeing more live updates from the cartoonists I follow and the you know, digital, almost like comics and zine making than I am from actual like media outlets. But my work is also super influenced by all these amazing people out there. So there are other ways that comics are digitized, right? Like the Nib is a thing you might subscribe to, and they drop comics in your inbox daily, but they also post them on Instagram. You might be following Desert Island Comics. They've created this beautiful series called The Rescue Party, where they use that platform of Instagram to have people present 9-panel strips that are then combined into these grid formats. And then there's just individual artists working on their own. So of course, this is not a comprehensive list of all the amazing artists working right now, but just a few of the people who like really delight me to see in my feed every day. Ben Mara has this crazy project called What We Mean by Yesterday that's like almost 200 posts now, 4 images at a time. And sometimes these are moving like over minutes of a day, and sometimes they're moving like seconds at a time. Simon Hanselman is a independent cartoonist, comic artist that is pretty popular in the independent comic scene, but he's really changed his format in this Crisis Zone collection that's been coming out daily. These cartoonists are all moving to this square format, broken down into no more than 10 panels at a time. And I really am seeing like in Instagram as a format and a distribution place influence the work that's being put out. Another is Liz Prince making these awesome quarantine comics that have been going on for 68 or 70 days by now. And I just want to point out, like, we're not only seeing documentations of you know, life under COVID or life in quarantine, but like, what else is happening, right? And what are we all connecting over other ways? So I think it's really funny that you have these 3 distinct cartoonists. The one on the right is Kevin Cherry, one of our panelists today, talking about their experiences with Animal Crossing. And then like the much more serious reality of the protests and Black Lives Matter movement that's become such a more prevalent part of a lot of our lives. And you know, different artists like Ron Wimberly, Bianca Zunis, and Ben Passmore all either sharing experiences or information for protesters, or actually on the streets documenting what's happening. So with that said, I want to invite a few people that I respect a lot and I've always wanted to be a part of working with or talking to more, to talk a little bit about their work and then have a conversation. So we'll start with Erin.
Hey everybody, so I'm Erin Lehrman. I'm an artist. I'm primarily a printmaker and a painter, and I'm a high school art teacher based in Baltimore. And something interesting about my recent comic practice is that I'm pretty new on the scene. For me, creating serialized autobiographical comics and the pandemic both started on Friday, March 13th, when the governor closed schools. And at first I felt in a lot of ways that this was just going to be a better safe than sorry temporary closing, kind of like calling for a snow day before it even started snowing. And it very quickly became much more than that, as we all know. But at first I was just doing what I normally do with an unexpected school closing, like a snow day. I tried to create sort of an at-home artist residency for myself. And I was also immediately looking for ways that I could put out relevant content to my students if the rumors of distance learning came true, which we all know they did. So that next day I was sitting in my studio trying to revive an old painting, and I was staring at my bookshelf and I saw Linda Berry's syllabus next to Peter Cooper's Diario de Oaxaca. And I think I might have actually like exclaimed out loud. I've been a longtime fan of Linda Berry and at various times have tried and failed to like maintain a daily practice of chronicling life using some of her exercises. And I just recently become enamored with Peter Cooper's visual journalism of very political moments. So putting the two together, I thought maybe I could challenge myself to draw something every day for as long as schools were closed, just to keep myself making. And also as a way to reach out and connect with my students. So almost right away, I started sharing this on Instagram. I'm not sure exactly what compelled me to do that, but I received a lot of really cool feedback from friends and family. And around that time, I also started seeing Ryan's comics in my feed. And it almost felt like we were kind of indirect pen pals, which makes it especially cool to be here today.
That's awesome. Thanks, Erin. We'll go with Joe next.
Sure. Hey everybody. I'm Joe. I'm a freelance illustrator based in Baltimore. I mainly do like editorial work for my professional practice. And I love to make and print like zines and personal comics too. So I'm like a very like happy to see DC Zine Fest, do such a great job, adapting and keeping this going. Um, uh, uh, um, I'm also a person who stutters. I'm sure that didn't even notice yet. But like so so I'm gonna try my best to not take up 3 hours talking about my my drawings. But Ryan is flipping through some now. That first one was an op-ed piece that I got to do for the New York Times, like once quarantine started, and that like a kicked off this like a run of more personal pieces, like specifically for like internet mediums, social media, and the next one that Ryan put on there. Let's see if you can go through a couple more. Was one that's like simply about what like a grocery shopping is like right now. There's like been this new way of life for the past few months that's been like a calling out to be touched upon with art, and for myself it's been a good opportunity to have fun and get like personal with it too.
Thanks so much, Joe. Whit, are you ready to go? I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hi everyone, I'm like so happy to be here. So I'm a cartoonist. I've been cartooning for probably like about over a decade, but I've been doing it like my whole life, so it's hard to like figure out when that started. And I do a combination of autobio. I do some comics journalism, like nonfiction work, and I also have been dabbling and getting into fiction more recently. I also work as an editor. I do freelance editing, and I just became a contributing editor at the Nib, where I've been doing comics for a while with them. So I'm really excited because we're actually doing a pandemic magazine coming up. So we're gonna be hoping to feature more stories about, life with COVID and everything. But so I started, I've been doing Instagram comics for a while, just as like, if I'm working on longer projects, it's also nice to do short things that I can share and like talk to people about, and like just to talk about everyday experiences, hopefully that people can relate to. The timing has been definitely weird for me though, because I had a baby in April, like during quarantine, pretty much. Like, I'm from New Jersey at the height of like the pandemic in New Jersey, which was quite an experience. So my comics practice is kind of different because I haven't been able to really get as much done as I had hoped, but it is something I like to do at night when I have time. So in the past few months, I don't know, I've been just doing things about feelings about the pandemic. Like, I did a short one called It's Okay To, about like allowing yourself to have conflicting and difficult feelings, because we're all, you know, trying to process what's going on. I make little like strips about silly things, you know, quarantine haircuts, toilet paper, all the, you know, cultural things that we're like dealing with right now and trying to make sense of. As a picture of me actually the day before I gave birth, sitting on my sofa, and this is like, it was peak death week in New York, and I was like, okay, I'm having a baby and it's peak death week, and this is just like a lot to think about right now. I can't even like understand this. So I just wanted to like share those experiences with people. The timeline of birds, that's another one I did a few weeks ago. This was right after the situation happened with Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper in Central Park, and about Black Birding Week. And I realized, hey, I love birds. Let me make a story about my connection to birds, and then kind of exploring some of the social, racial issues around it and what I was trying to process. And like stuff like identity and culture come up a lot in my work. So this is just another, like, Instagram's another great way to like write about these everyday like experiences, and then like be able to share them with people.
Thank you
So thank you.
so much, Whit, and congrats on your new position at the NIB. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, we're gonna jump into Kevin Sherry.
Hello, can you hear me now? Yes? Cool. Hey, my name is Kevin Sherry. I'm from Baltimore. I've been here for 20 years. Me and Ryan actually went to school together. I think we were in sequential art together at MICA, but I've been here for 20 years. I'm a children's book author, and I started in my 20s. I did picture books, but then when I got into my 30s, I was doing these. They're kind of like these chapter comic hybrid books. I'm sorry about this aquarium. I don't know if you can see me. I'm not great at these Zoom meetings, so we put this aquarium and I can't figure out how to get it off.
We'll plug the books at the end, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I wrote comics for kids, and I toured around to schools and did like presentations with puppets and stuff, but obviously that is all over for this whole school year, and you know, for the foreseeable future. And I think there was this time in April when everybody's like, whoa, like we get to look at ourselves for once, and like the dolphins are returning to Venice, and I started really doing only artwork that I wanted to do, and I started doing like autobiographical comics. So yeah, that's just how I got through that month, just by documenting what was happening, and it did create a dialogue. A lot of people responded to that kind of stuff.
Sorry, not sure why this isn't coming up yet.
So yeah, and then I sold my house and I moved, and my whole life got insanely crazy. I got really depressed. I forgot about being an artist at all. And then I didn't do art for 2 months. And then I did that comic Gutted on the left, just to say like, I am depressed. What other artist who is like rocked by this is depressed? And a lot of people really responded, and it got me into the action of making art again. So yeah, making these autobiographical comics during this time has really helped me a lot.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you all for doing this with me and being a part of this conversation. This is the second time that, just for everybody watching, like this is the second time we've all talked, but it does feel like Aaron said, like we've been having this sort of pen pal relationship all along. Kevin and I, many of us that live in Baltimore, aren't far from each other, but we haven't seen each other, and have really been keeping in touch by probably reading each other's comics. And Wit is somebody I've just followed for a long time, and feel like I can commiserate a little bit with your life through this. So I just wanted to like get together and talk about what it's to do this work right now. We can go back to any of these picture examples or, you know, whatever as we go, but let's just start. Like, how has social media or Instagram, you know, changed the way that you as a consumer of comics or maker of comics, like how does it change like who you follow or the way you access the work of others?
So for me, with this, you know, you can see content by artists that, you know, may like divert from their normal style. You know, stuff that is more like spontaneous, to, you know, go back to that like Simon Hanselman example. His, you know, current serialized pieces are like a rough and, you know, done in just a colored like a pencil instead of like, you know, full paintings. You know, like it's so immediate, which is, you know, great and fun and like you know, new to see. And you know, like with social media, you know, in particular, like comic strips in newspapers, like I could be responding to, you know, daily life, but I can't like imagine every single, you know, newspaper comic artist to be, you know, giving their take on the role of like animal crossing, you know, in their quarantine life, and responding to, you know, other other artists, like in interpretations of that, you know, same game.
Totally. Yeah, I think I just heard something about like you know, the first newspaper comic featured somebody in a mask, but it was like, you know, June 1st or something, because like they were being made like 3 months ahead of time, you know. And
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, I think that the thing that's really cool about it is there's such a range of things you can do, like pretty much just as much as what you can do in print. Like I'd follow like Simon Hanselman, or like I love Ben Mara's comic because it's just like really funny and it's like a soap opera almost. It's like what's gonna happen today.
yeah.
But I also like, you know, like I like people doing diary comics. It's like another thing that I think is like, it's great for that. And also there's a lot of informational, like nonfiction stuff. Like I've seen a lot of stuff about like keeping safe with COVID, or like protests, and like how to, you know, all these things like that. It's like a really good, clear way to present information that's easy to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that is like sorry, there's a little bit lag on when I change the slide. So it's, but like in these, like Ron Wimberly's doing this like series where it's like all the things you should know before you go protesting. And then like on the right is like Ben Passmore being like, so I was following this protest around and like live reporting, and they're both super responsive to like events that could be just like hours from when they posted it or a day after, you know. So okay, for everybody here, you know, we're like no shade if you're, you know, not posting daily, but we've all made something in 2020, right? So like how, and we makes this choice to put it online, you know, how does it affect what you make? Like we brought up, you know, the idea that even like, you know, some of these like I'm closer to probably like what Aaron's doing here. You're like photographing right out of your sketchbook, but you know, Joe, you've definitely broken your pieces down to be more digestible in digital format. What you're making, I don't know if you're drawing digitally, but they definitely like appear to fit. And Kevin, you're drawing in squares. Like, how does it influence what you make? How are you motivated by the response on there? Anybody want to talk about that?
Yeah, I was thinking about like I always used to make autobiographical zines before, like in paper with Xeroxes, and I don't know if I ever made money off of those either. So I don't have a lot of there's not a lot of trepidation about just putting stuff out there. You know what I mean? I guess it's up to us now, the artists, to figure out some other way to make money off of it. But yeah, I think. I changed.
So that idea of like giving content away or something. You're not being commissioned to do this. It's not like.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's a shift in thinking. Right?
Yeah, I something I did on my other account, the Scales and Tail. I have a role-playing game account. I was literally doing a choose your own adventure with the internet. I would draw a picture, and then the little character could either do A or B, and then I would really just pick. You know, if whatever the internet chose, I would go with that storyline, and that was really, really fun.
Thank you so much for bringing that up, Kevin. That was such a cool early experiment, and to me, that feels like it was about 18 months ago right now, but it was like April.
Yeah. I stopped like 2 months ago because everything was too much. Yeah.
So was there a pressure around that? Did you feel like from the internet or just from the world we're living in?
Oh, I moved. I sold my house suddenly and moved. So my whole life like turned upside down. I would have loved to continue it. I really liked the, I wouldn't get a lot of likes on those posts that asked for like, you know, interaction, but I would get tons of comments. And I really like doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I guess I can add. Yeah, I mean, the thing I like about it is it's like, I feel like my style for these, it's like really loose and kind of off the cuff. It's like it's different than some of my other things where there's a lot more planning and editing involved. And that's another reason why, like, for something like this, I'm giving it away for free, but that's fine with me because I have like total control over what I'm doing with these. And it's really kind of short and not like really pre-planned. So I get a value from doing that, just like I get a value from doing something that's kind of a longer project or a more edited project.
Totally. Aaron, I want to ask you, like, as a specific example, you know, when you made, it'll come up in a second, when you made this piece, The Test, you know, like, were you at that test going like, I'm gonna end up making a comic about this?
No, I wasn't, but now, so this happened this summer, and I actually haven't shared this one on Instagram yet, but it happened, and I realized, like, if I made this whole sketchbook about life in the time of COVID, how could I not share the experience of being COVID tested? Like, that feels like essential experience to kind of record and like witness. So I think, like, for me, I also only have like one more spread left in the sketchbook. So it just felt like something that was going to be a good conclusion or almost conclusion. I have one more spread after this, to finishing this sketchbook.
Does that give you a relief? Do you feel like you're going to stop this project maybe, or be able to change once you've completed it?
I think like this project is over, but this practice might not be, or it might take, I definitely can't maintain daily anymore. I think around day 36, I couldn't maintain daily anymore.
Totally.
It ended up becoming more weekly. But this is something I want to return to at various times. And I think, obviously I'll have to get another notebook. I actually was looking at some to order this morning. But, you know, I think I really enjoyed this, and I developed a visual language by the end of it that really started to feel fluent to me, and that I'm excited about. So it's definitely something I plan to revisit. And I think back to the question before, like having this real or perceived audience on social media was a good motivator to keep going and hold myself to the daily or weekly creation of something that kind of reflected how I would summarize that day or that week or that period of time in a couple of images. So that practice I definitely want to continue.
That's great. That's a really good, you know, I hope you guys don't mind. I keep jumping in here with my own thoughts, but it really I think to bring it back to DC Zine Fest, like I want to respect that we are talking a lot about social media, but it is not in spite of physical comics and zines at all. Like all of those projects I talked about and all of your all's work, like I cannot wait to read them in person. And it reminds me, like I threw some books that I've been like reading a lot back here, like this like Noah Van Sciver book. He did he has a video he just put up on the YouTube where it's like, I filled my sketchbook and I filled it and then I could print it. And I kind of like, I hope we all can find ways to do that. It's totally going to be a really awesome library of work when we're done. But speaking of that too, like you're done with something, maybe you get to like take a breath, or maybe you got to say like, I don't have to do dailies. Like, how have you guys been able to find time to go easy on yourself? Like Kevin, you're like, I can't maybe make this, you know, choose your own adventure every day. Like, you know, I think it's important that we, you know, we all say like, let's do self-care, let's go easy. But like, we're also motivated to make things and share them. But, you know, any responses to that?
Yeah. So there's you know, for me, I feel like in Instagram, you know, makes a lot of like pressure just to, you know, see like so many other artists like crank things out. And like for me, you know, it's you know, just this like a perspective shift, you know, that I like have to like actively make, you know, where I can, you know, separate the pressure of likes and of like refreshing the like a notification page, you know, obsessively from the benefits of the platform, you know, just to like a recognize like a that I don't have to like a be on the same level as, you know, everyone else. And yeah, I mean, that's like something which, you know, takes some practice for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. You know, I think I found some peace in making stuff and sharing it because it feels like I'm participating in something outside of like the walls of my house, but that not feeling like everybody's got to be at the same level helps. But also seeing artists make in such immediate ways helps that a lot.
I think on Instagram it's different too. You do control, like Whitney said, you do control what you put out, and you can go into hiding if you want. I did a Kickstarter and I'm starting a Patreon now, and those things are way more demanding. I took 2 months off from making comics when I was moving, and I got a job at DoorDash. I was going insane. Like my brain, but getting back to art feels like, you know, more of self-care to me, more of like doing what I'm called to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you. I know like if you're doing editing work and like taking care of a new baby right now, that is a ton of work. Like I as somebody with like a day job that I'm doing mostly online, and I know Aaron, you're in a similar position, like taking time to make art is also like a bit of a refresher, right? It's like a time to express myself that's not on some formal Zoom call, and it's a time to like use my hands, and then it gives me a better reason to scroll because I'm like, ooh, did anybody like that or not? But like, I'm not just scrolling and feeling bad. What about like maintaining jobs and trying to maintain art or be an artist?
I can speak to that a little bit. I mean, I think, you know, the school year is definitely a hard time for me to maintain my personal practice. It's always on borrowed time. It's always like using my planning period like for 15 minutes to just like sit down and do something in my sketchbook really fast, or while the kids are working. And the summer, it's while I'm running summer camp on Zoom, literally from 9 to like 4:30, seeing what I can do really quickly. So something like this is actually much more accessible to me than working on an oil painting or printmaking. It's a little bit more chunked. So that's why it's been so compatible. And I do hope to be able to do a little bit more of this. But it is like, the reality is I'm always juggling, and I don't know that I ever really stop or slow down or take time for myself, but I have to drop one ball and like focus on another. So as soon as we know what's happening this fall with school, I'm sure I'm going to have to take some time to put this on the back burner and do some real curriculum planning and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the juggling thing is super relatable. I'm dealing with that right now with like having a new baby and not having like use of my hands whenever I want, which like is a really new experience. But it's also like forcing me to be like, what really matters in terms of what I want to do with my art practice as well. Like, what are the stories I really want to tell? And it's making me kind of just simplify what I'm doing, which I don't think is like the worst thing. It's just a different challenge to have. And I feel like very shut into, like, because of COVID and because of having a new baby, I'm like, I spend so much time in my house. It's really nice to read stories from other people and see what they're up to. It does feel like it's a way of maintaining connection that I think is important. And so like when I'm able to also share my experiences, it like makes me, it just helps. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember, I am a dad, and I remember when I would carry my son around when he was a newborn. Like, I felt like my one arm was super, super strong from like hefting this kid around all the time. But it was also a reminder, like I'd pick up like a jug of milk and be like, whoa, I'm so strong. But I was like, oh, I never use this arm. I'm always carrying a thing with me. So big props to you to draw or do anything other than carry your kid. That's a great time, but it is trying. Want to open it up? Does the audience have anything they'd like to ask? You can type it, or you can unmute and say hey. Does anybody else on our panel also just like have anything we haven't covered that you might want to bring up or ask? How about I'll jump in here. That how about your significant others? Like I know, you know, Kevin, you've been making a lot of comics about what you and Aaron have been going through. With your family is a character in your comics a lot. You know, it's all of us, I think.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I was putting all these like real life like therapy comics online. And then I was like, oh, I'm getting married in a week. I have to prove to the internet that I actually love my wife. So I put this series of comics that I made for her into a book, like about, I don't know, like a year and a half ago when I was first like scheming the proposal and everything. So yeah, I just I was trying to swing away from the therapy comics I was doing. In fact, I have been doing Zoom therapy, which has really sucked. I don't know if anybody else is doing Zoom therapy. It's really sucked. And my therapist has gone to say, just why don't you write and make a comic about it? Because that's
About your therapy?
Yeah, my therapist says that now.
But
So,
they want you to make the comic about the Zoom therapy?
no, about like sometimes
About
I'll just, like not be able to communicate very well over the Zoom.
Oh, I see.
You know, and he's like, well, why don't you just make a comic about it? You know, and usually that has been working for me.
Yeah, I don't want to step on anybody else. If anybody.
No, I was just gonna say my partner Justin has appeared in some of my comics, but he, you know, definitely isn't one of those people who loves the spotlight. So I am like mindful about how he appears, or, you know, putting it out there to the world in a way that would make him uncomfortable, or, you know, something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I will note that in my recent work, so I started where it was really like internal monologue diary kind of thing, and then turned into comics about life. And like the recent stuff has been predominantly kind of like from the perspective of my son going to this camp. And a part of that is like, he's the person who gets to like leave our home and like bring back stories from the actual world. And it's an all outdoor camp. He's completely safe, but like, it's just nice that somebody gets to go interact with other people. But I'm very conscious to try to like never draw him in an unflattering way, but I often make myself look like extra schleppy and gross because it's like, you're a dad in a comic. You got to be like smelly. You got to be sweaty and nasty and annoyed. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's
You do that.
sorry, wait, go ahead.
yeah, no, same thing. Like I usually ask my husband to like take a look at things, or I like sometimes I'll ask like, can I use this like thing that you said? Are you like cool? And he's like not really into social media or like being in the spotlight either, but he's like generally cool with me doing things. And I like putting like pets into, like, there's so many like cat comics right now, even more than usual, just because people are home with, and dogs, people are home with their pets so much. So that's really fun to see too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like the best, if you don't follow Liz Prince, they I think have a frog that often like the comic is about the frog pooping or the cat barfing, them like panicking. It's great. It's so great. So there's some good questions in the chat. Has anyone tried out new tools since COVID started? I've gotten really into like acrylic inks and like doing like washes with acrylic ink, but what about you guys?
I did venture into digital tools for a minute. I had a student asking me about Procreate, so I took down my iPad 2 and I found a way to get Procreate to download on it. It wasn't like compatible, it's too new to like be compatible, so I had to find a workaround. And I got like a third-party pen and was trying it, but it just really isn't the same as working on paper for me. I was actually kind of struggling with that. So I mostly stuck with like Crayola crayons, and you can see that in my work.
Yeah, I went all the way back to just pencil too. I went all the way back for my RPG thing. I just
Yeah.
pencil on paper and went really slow. So I was like, I'm gonna do a stop motion animation. I'm gonna learn actual animation. But I didn't do any of those things. So I actually, yeah, I went to something simple and just like primal.
Joe, how do you draw?
Yeah. So like I'm pretty much, you know, all digital. Like all of my stuff, you know, still starts like in the sketchbook, like with pencil. But you know, thinking about like a new tools, like when I you know, have this time to like work on like not job work, like but these more, you know, personal pieces, like I've you know, taken that like as an opportunity to like a figure out, you know, new like a digital like a techniques, you know, different types of like brushes, and you know, textures, and you know, stuff like that.
Sorry, it took a minute for your example to come up, but yeah, I think these are phenomenal. Like they look like printmaking and like stampy block kind of stuff. It really, it's really nice, Joe. The quality's great.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, like I miss like sharing like a tactile, like a print, like a media. So like trying to like replicate, you know, that like a good feeling that it like gives me with a digital like tools, like has been like hard, but led me into some like unexpected directions.
Yeah. Well, I just realized. Thank you. Wait, do you have anything to say about tools?
Yeah, sure. I actually started using Procreate like for this, just so I could do, just to kind of, I don't know, just as a change, because I usually do it on paper. I usually use like brush pens or markers or other things, but I just figured doing it digitally was a way to make quick edits too. So I've just been using Procreate for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the immediacy and the how quick it is to flip out stuff digitally. But probably like Aaron, like I just have like a really old iPad mini and it's pretty broken, so shied away from it. But I realized we go till 5:50, not 6, so I guess we should wrap up. Last thing is I just want to say that check everybody out. These are all super talented people. Hire them, buy their books, buy paintings from Aaron, everything. Kevin's got a moving sale, and just these two. So Kevin's got all those awesome published books he mentioned, and I like couldn't be more excited. I subscribed to Wit's Fizzle through Radiator Comics at SPX last year, and it is such a treat to occasionally just get a surprise piece of mail, and it's the best mini comic I get in the mail. So check it out. I will hand it back. Thank you all. Any parting words?
Thank you for having us. This is awesome.
Thank you. I'll hand it back over to DCZ.
Thanks so much.
Y'all are super cool. Thanks for sticking around.
Hey everybody. Wow, thanks for that is the final panel of the fest. I think we're going to have all our organizers join you real quick. First, I thought it would be cool to give the final stats. So today we had 4,744 people visit our page and 799 people visit individually. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming out. As you can see, please check out our tablers. They're going to be up for a week, dczinefest.com. We're also selling merch. We got bags. We got stickers. You saw them. They look really good when you peel them. Yeah, other organizers. Want to give any reminders?
I just want to give a big thanks to everyone. I feel like I kind of fell in love with every single panelist and workshop leader today. I was just like, these are my new best friends. Like everyone did an amazing job. We had so many great topics. I really like listening to everyone. And yeah, this has been really special. I don't think we could have done this, this number of panels and had people from all over if we had in-person DC Zine Fest. And also it's like 100 degrees today. And last year when we were in the building we were in, we had air conditioning, but it was referred to as a nightmare of flesh. And I'm glad that that did not occur. So I want to thank everyone. And also a reminder, workshop and panelists people will get one of these beautiful stickers for through the mail. We'll get information later, but you'll get one.
Post stuff on social media, tag us. That'd be handy. We're gonna be updating our stories and keeping a little highlight on Instagram of everyone's stuff. And
yeah, thank y'all so much. This is really special. I'm really happy that we were able to share space together despite coronavirus and everything. So this made me really happy.
And come next year for year 10.
Yeah, year 10 part 2.
Electric Boogaloo, Babe Pig in the City.
Thank you to everyone for your generous donations through Venmo and PayPal. It means a lot, and we'll share it with the wonderful artists and zinesters that make Zine Fest worth having.
Yeah, thank you. I think I got exposed to a greater variety of artists than I would have had we had the fair as normal, had the fest as normal. So it was a total delight.
Yeah, same here. Same here, Nick.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna go spend all of my money on the Zine Festivals now. And I will go ahead and stop recording as well.
Cool. Thanks so much, y'all. Good job, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank y'all.
See you in the interwebs.